hotspots for Wi-Fi. These people will be transacting. They'll be transacting with different people in different parts of the country and also globally. Ours is to make sure as they transact, that space is also secure. Your Excellency, under the digital superhighway also, we continue to work with different institutions, that is CONSA, in making sure that the government work goes on as planned. Your Excellency, on the registration, up there we displayed the process of registration. You go online, you apply for registration, we verify your document, we issue a certificate which is also digital. It is renewed after 2 years. So far, Your Excellency, we've been able to register 17 applications so far. And under this, Your Excellency, just shortly, I would request, we have NTSA CEO who we will be issuing a certificate. You will be issuing your certificate today. Maybe he can stand for recognition. We also have Marketing Society of Kenya. They are part of the people who've registered as controllers, Marketing Society of Kenya. He's here, Your Excellency. We also have a small medium enterprise youth group. Perhaps they can stand where they are. And also we have Jamii Telecom, who are also being issued with a certificate today, Your Excellency. In conclusion, Your Excellency, when it comes to issues of matter data protection, what we are trying to preempt is the risk of discriminating against data subjects. In the information fell in the wrong hands, there could be identity theft. We have seen situations of cyberbullying, and we also seen that the importance of ethical handling of data. It's important as data controller and data processor continue to do innovation, they make sure that the information they collect is secure. Your Excellency, I wish to emphasize that the Office of the Data Commissioner, and we have told people it's not here to kill innovation. We know that's the only way to move forward. We appreciate the continuous partnership we've had, including with KRA, including with some of our big data controllers like CBK and many other regulators. We have emphasized that government institutions have a lawful basis for collecting information. So it's important that that also comes across. The benefits of data protection, one is increased job opportunity. We see an opportunity for employing data protection officers. We see opportunity for trainings. We see the Data Protection Act also spurring economic growth through innovation and online trading. We see improvement in investor confidence, because if people know that as Kenya, we are securing the digital space, we are securing the digital space through data protection, we are able to do that. And of course, we also see the investment in the digital infrastructure. That is the short presentation. I'll hand over to the MC. Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Asanteni.
Thank you very much, Madam Kasait. With your permission, Your Excellency, at this point, I would like to invite the Ambassador to Kenya from Germany, His Excellency Thomas Wimmer, to also make some few remarks. Welcome. Tumpigie makofi ki Kenya. Welcome.
Thank you very much. Your Excellency, Dr. William Ruto, the President of the Republic and Commander-in-Chief of the Defense Forces, the Honorable Eliud Owalo, CS for Information, Communications and Digital Economy, the Honorable Deputy Governor of Nairobi, our good friend and cooperation partner, the Honorable Immaculate Kasait, the Data Protection Commissioner. I would also like to say hi to my colleague, Irene Garibaldi. She's the European Union Head of Cooperation and works very closely with us in the matter of data protection. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning and happy International Data Protection Day. Kenya is one of the pioneers in terms of digitalization. Very obviously, my country, Germany, and many other countries can learn a lot from Kenya. Kenya is a digital heavyweight. With Kenyans going online in record numbers, the digital transformation has therefore also become a centerpiece of Kenyan-German relations. Jointly with the European Union, Germany is investing close to 3 billion shillings in support of Kenya's transition towards a sustainable and human-centered digital economy. We do this through our joint project called Digital Transformation Center. I am also proud to announce a new initiative on the digitalization of TVET institutions in Kenya, funded by Germany, France, and the EU, adding another 9.5 billion shillings. Thank you. Data is becoming an increasingly important commodity, something we could not have imagined a few years ago. However, data is only valuable if we know how to use it sensibly and how to protect it. Data-driven innovations have the potential to transform people's lives and to create major benefits for companies and societies. But this comes with significant risks in terms of data safety and data privacy, challenges which we are all facing, Kenya, Germany, and many other countries alike. Kenya has firmly positioned itself as a regional and global leader on data protection. The adoption of the Data Protection Act is a remarkable achievement, and the impressive work of the Data Protection Commissioner speaks for itself. Your Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, the world's first data protection law was adopted in Germany in 1970. The German federal state of Hesse enacted the world's first Data Protection Act. Last year, on this day, I joked that I didn't even know we had data then, but it's good to know that they were well protected if we had any. Since then, data protection laws have been spreading across the globe. Germany and the EU have been Kenya's prime partners for the implementation of the Data Protection Act since the onset. We have been working closely with the Data Protection Commissioner and the Ministry of Information, Communications and the Digital Economy to establish a strong data protection culture in Kenya. Data protection is a civil right, and governments have the responsibility to create the framework for the citizens. But data protection is also a business asset. Kenya's comprehensive data protection and cybersecurity framework is developing into a strong pull factor for foreign companies to invest. As German Development Corporation and as Team Europe, we look forward to partnering with you here in Kenya, but also in international fora to jointly shape the global data protection architecture. Kenya has all the ingredients to fast-track its digital transformation. I would like to thank Your Excellency, the President, the ICT Ministry, and the Office of the Data Protection Commissioner for working with us and organizing this event in exactly this spirit. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Let's give him another warm clap. And at this point, Your Excellency, with your permission, I would like to invite the Deputy Governor for Nairobi, Honorable Njoroge Mushiri, who will stand in for Governor Johnson Sakaja. Tumpigie makofi. Thank you.
Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya, Dr. William Samoei Ruto, CS Eliud Owalo, the Data Commissioner, ambassadors here present, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Njoroge Mushiri, as been told. I stand here on behalf of Governor Sakaja, who could not make it to this event. And first of all is to welcome you to the city of Nairobi. And we are very pleased that this is happening in our capital. In the city of Nairobi, in our government, we've already adopted technology in a number of things that we are doing. We have a state-of-the-art data center that was established quite a while back, and which we are now using effectively to be able to deliver services to our people. Your Excellency will be pleased to know that we have also set up a Smart Nairobi Directorate to be able to digitize and automate a lot of our functions within the city. And we also set up a Hustler Opportunities Directorate that we will serve largely on the back of technology. In this regard, then, therefore, the data that we collect will need to be carefully protected. We need to be able to enhance protection of personal information while we allow it to be accessed by the various parties in terms of decision-making and in terms of carrying out what is lawful government business. We will also be looking at some of the other areas that we need to automate, like in street lights. We can do a lot of work on the street lights. You have smart poles, which we can then use to collect data across the city that we use to process and manage our operations within the city. In addition to that, we're implementing a GIS system that will allow us to do street addressing, and that enables us to get very efficient in terms of rates collection, business permit licensing, and all that we need to do to be able to drive revenues up in the city. It's therefore important that all this data that we collect is carefully protected, is carefully managed, is carefully stored, and is carefully dispensed to those parties that need to access it. Therefore, we're happy that the Data Protection Commissioner and their team are focusing on this day to be able to enlighten our people about the importance of this function. Without much further ado, I'd like to thank you all very much for coming and wish you a good day. Thank you.
Thank you, DG. And at this point, I will now call upon the Cabinet Secretary, Ministry of Information, Communication and Digital Economy, Honorable Eliud Owalo, who will come and give some brief remarks, and then welcome His Excellency, the President. Welcome, sir.
His Excellency, the President, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, all protocols observed, good afternoon. As you are aware, ladies and gentlemen, the Kenya Kwanza government, under the stewardship of His Excellency, the President, has got a very, very ambitious digital transformation strategy. That strategy, ladies and gentlemen, entails the digital superhighway as a thematic area in the Kenya Kwanza plan. And to operationalize that, we are embarking on an ambitious program of rolling out 100,000 kilometers of fiber optic cable to enhance the ICT infrastructure in all parts of the country. We are establishing and operationalizing 25,000 free Wi-Fi hotspots all over the country, and also in the same vein, setting up a total of 1,450 digital hubs in all the wards in the country, ladies and gentlemen. Equally, we are embarking on an ambitious digital literacy program among members of the public and public officials, so that there is an optimal level of uptake of the ICT infrastructure that we are rolling out, so that we are able to move towards the digital transformation agenda that is envisaged. We are also embarking on a digital entrepreneurship program that would ensure that Kenya as a country becomes a manufacturer of both digital infrastructure and software. While doing this, we have now embarked on the process of digitalizing government services and also digitizing government records, ladies and gentlemen. Within the context of our meeting today, we appreciate the fact that we need to ensure that there is an enabling framework from a policy, regulatory, and legal perspective that ascertains that there is both data protection and data privacy. So the delicate balancing act that we have to exercise from a policy, legal, and regulatory perspective, ladies and gentlemen, is to ensure that while conforming to the Data Protection Act on one hand, on the flip side of it, we must also ensure that there are adequate provisions within the law that will not inhibit operationalization of the Access to Information Act, because we have got fundamental entities at government and even the private sector levels that would require to access information in line with their constitutional mandates as enshrined in both their mandates and the 2010 constitutional dispensation. And I want to assure you that as a ministry, we will constantly consult with relevant stakeholders, depending on unfolding events from time to time, to ensure that we have got that enabling policy, legal, and regulatory framework to strike a balance between the Data Protection Act and Access to Information Act, ladies and gentlemen. With those few remarks, may I now have the distinguished honor and privilege to invite His Excellency the President to come over and address the congregation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Eliud. Please, let's take our seats. Asanteni sana. Cabinet Secretary for ICT and Digital Economy, Eliud Owalo. Our sister, Immaculate Kasait, our Data Commissioner, Ambassador, my good friend from Germany, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Hamjambo? Mambo ni aje? You're too quiet. First, let me congratulate Immaculate for a wonderful presentation. I learned a few things as I listened to her about the whole scope and space around data and data protection. Congratulations, Madam, for doing a good job. I'm very happy to join you this morning on this occasion as we observe the International Data Privacy Day, as it gives us an excellent opportunity to reflect and reason about possibilities, constraints, opportunities, as well as threats that define the field of privacy, especially in matters data. When the first such day was marked over 4 decades ago, Kenya had not plugged into the information technology data universe that was just taking off then. Today, we have not only caught up with the most advanced jurisdictions, we are poised to seize leadership in innovative domains that are destined to define the digital future and the knowledge economy. Like the rest of the world, we are in the grip of the 4th industrial revolution that is underway, which has radically changed our world and our lives within a very short time. Cumulative technological developments now happening over the span of a few years routinely outstrip by far the radical transformations and historic progress achieved over centuries in what has been documented as the Industrial Revolution. Life, work, society, and government are all undergoing unprecedented forms and rates of change owing to connectivity, automation, artificial intelligence, nanotechnology, and robotics. As a result, all sorts of new possibilities emerge every day, whilst traditional definitions of work and leisure are being challenged and redefined on a continuous basis. It is a proud moment for a forward-looking nation like Kenya to be able to embrace this brave new world and make our way in it with the awareness that we must move fast in order to develop the capacity to derive maximum benefits from its opportunities. We can do a lot of things in countless different and much better ways that satisfy infinitely diverse requirements of many people around the globe. The barriers to real-time interaction on a global scale no longer exist. People can work from anywhere, and many activities that were considered leisure are now lucrative lines of work. At the same time, this brave new world is vulnerable to antisocial agencies on a much more devastating scale. Every time we connect, we become exposed to relentless waves of attempted attacks and breaches of security. Data, as the currency of the new age, is ever in demand, and all sorts of entities employ all manner of strategies to obtain and leverage on it. It is the duty of the government to deploy necessary resources and remain vigilant in order to support and protect entrepreneurs, innovators, and other workers in the digital economy from fraudsters, terrorists, traffickers of illicitly obtained data, and all manner of criminals who populate the online underworld. It is worthwhile, therefore, to reflect about the opportunities as well as the threats present in the digital economy on one hand, and the methods and strategies of promoting and protecting legitimate actors while deterring and suppressing malevolent agencies on the other hand. Data protection must serve the greater interest of the public by ensuring that we have sufficient information for effective and efficient delivery of public goods and services. However, we must also ensure that criminal elements do not hide under data protection or exploit it to perpetuate crime or evade paying tax. The context in which we reflect on this tire of tension matters. We are an open and democratic society founded on the principles of constitutionalism and the rule of law. We are also a market economy dedicated to entrepreneurial freedom and consumer choice as the foundational principle of wealth and success. We must allow maximum entrepreneurial liberty in order to reap the benefits of the free market economy and advance human well-being. Yet, we cannot permit the vulnerable to be victimized by fraud, exploitation, and abuse. We have an obligation to defend national sovereignty and protect society from cyber terrorists and online criminals. Yet, we must not use security and protection as excuses to claw away the fundamental rights and freedoms of citizens, especially on the matter of access to information. It seems to me, then, that it is important for all stakeholders in the data sector to always be conscious of limits. What are the constitutionally recognized and practically unavoidable limits to freedom of expression, freedom of information, and the right to privacy, as well as the state's authority in respect to all this? There must be a balance. I think the statement I'm trying to make here is there must be a balance between the state's responsibility to make sure that citizens have access to information in accordance with the Access to Information Act, but also protect citizens and whatever information that is private from criminals and other actors in that space. So there must be a balance between access to information on one hand and protection of privacy on another hand. And the nexus between those two, the nexus between access to information and protection of data and information, is the balance that will give us the right equilibrium for government to access legally useful information for public good and for citizens. And there are details and information to be protected from people who use it for other purposes other than that which is legal. And that's the balance that the ministry, the various departments, and especially our dear commissioner must keep balancing so that we are in good space. In order for Kenya to realize the maximum potential of the digital superhighway, we must have a clear data management regime that is rational, effective, and promotes efficiency. It has to be promotive of our agenda for the digital economy, because progressively, it is now absolutely clear that the next billionaires will be on the digital economy space. And we must provide sufficient latitude for access of whatever information that is necessary for us to grow our space for entrepreneurs, for business people, for investors in the digital space. And precisely the reason why we are expanding the digital superhighway so that we can bring on board millions of Kenyans by making it possible for them to access internet from all corners of Kenya. They can transact with the government, they can do business, they can create, they can innovate, and they can do business on the digital space, and precisely the reason why I set up the ministry that has digital economy as one of its big mandates. The government of Kenya is committed to working with all stakeholders to expand the space for creativity and innovation through the promotion of freedom of expression and also intellectual property rights. It is our intention to ensure that Kenya finally reaps its overdue dividend from the heavy investment in ICT infrastructure made over the last 2 decades. With 6 submarine fiber optic cables offering broadband connectivity, over 9,000 kilometers of terrestrial fiber optic connecting nearly in all county headquarters, geographical broadband coverage of 56%, and mobile broadband penetration of 96%, we are putting finishing touches on the policy and infrastructural framework that will switch on a historic explosion of productivity and competitiveness in our digital economy and in our entire Kenyan economy. I am looking forward to our commitment that in the next 6 months we will have 5,000 government services available on the digital space. Already, just to put it in context, we had 300 government services as of 2 weeks ago. We have increased that to 600. We have doubled in the last 2 weeks. We now have 600 government services available online, and we are well on course in ensuring that we have 5,000 government services in the next 6 months. And I've also asked the Ministry of ICT to also work on a digital identity so that the big Huduma thing that never was, we can finally have as Kenya a digital identity. And I have told my good friend Eliud that by the end of this year, Kenyans must be able to identify themselves digitally. It is not the work of government to issue IDs. It is the work of government to identify Kenyans. Over the next 5 years, we shall construct another 100,000 kilometers of national fiber optic network to achieve universal broadband connectivity in the country. We want to enhance government services delivery by digitizing and, wherever possible, automating critical processes, and by migrating 80% of services online, as I have said. And we are developing the digital master plan and establishing a regional hub to promote the large-scale development of software for export. We expect the digital superhighway to play a tremendous role as a fully fledged productive sector on its own and an enabling infrastructure for the universal health coverage, agriculture, MSME, and manufacturing pillars of our bottom-up economic transformation agenda for the transformation of our country. And just to state that we already have registered 5 million farmers who will participate this year in our subsidized fertilizer platform that will be available online as a mechanism of eliminating leakage, pilferage, corruption, and inefficiency in the delivery of fertilizer and especially of our subsidy program. Data then does play a critical role in our development agenda and will play an even greater and ever-increasing role going into the future. How we engage with data matters. As a commodity, public as well as private good, data is essential. We must therefore embark on a robust process of enriching our institutional framework to ensure that our transformational agenda is aligned with the principle of personal data protection and that Kenya expeditiously concludes the process of domesticating the African Union Convention on Cyber Security and Personal Data Protection. For this reason, the Cabinet Secretary for Information and the Digital Economy has been tasked with taking up this matter with the Attorney General and the leadership of the National Assembly so that we can be in tandem with the rest of the continent. Data protection is critical to an economy and a state that is intentionally digitizing. We are committed to supporting the Office of the Data Protection Commissioner to ensure that it rapidly acquires the necessary capacity to effectively perform its functions. The full implementation of the Data Protection Act 2019 is overdue. Our commitment to competitiveness, innovation, digitization, automation, and the digital economy requires a credible and legitimate facilitator to anchor investor confidence. And I'm confident that the Office of Data Protection will give us that much-needed value. This facilitator must be the commissioner. In order to be legitimate, the office must always demonstrate integrity, fairness, and commitment to promote the growth and simultaneously development of Kenya as a competitive digital economy and a global leader in data protection. The role is to promote, not inhibit, and to facilitate, not obstruct. In playing this role, the Commissioner must pay due attention to cross-border dimensions of data protection. The National Data Center must therefore be equipped with the necessary capacity to discharge both dual roles. The launch today of the Data Protection Registration System is an important step in this direction, and it is highly commendable and appropriate that the system, which was developed by Kenyan youth, has been successfully tested and piloted. And I want to say a very big congratulations to those who have put this together. I'm also happy to note that the development of the system went together with the certification of 1,417 data handlers from both the public and private sector. This signals that we are now ready to inaugurate Kenya's data protection regime. In the spirit of this important day, and in line with the government's commitment to safeguarding the privacy of citizens, all ministries, departments, and agencies are directed to henceforth align their strategies, systems, and processes with the provisions of the data protection laws. I also call upon county governments to pay attention to this development and take appropriate measures within their constitutional mandate to achieve a unified whole of government approach to data protection. I now declare, ladies and gentlemen, with a lot of pride, the data protection registration system officially launched as we celebrate this great day. Thank you and God bless you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, if we can just give another warm clap right there. Your Excellency, with your permission, we have a buzzer that would like to just have that done officially so that as part of your journey to comply with the Data Protection Act, you can now log on to the ODPC registration system to register as a data controller or data processor. And with this, that's what's going to happen. So, Your Excellency, if you don't mind, if you may just come and we synchronize this. Then after that, we'd like to issue some certificates to those who've already complied. So, yes, let's have the CS and also let's have the Data Commissioner also join as we do this officially. And ladies and gentlemen, this will signify the journey for you to comply with the Data Protection Act, that you can now log on to the ODPC registration system and register. 3, 2, 1.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
The CRM registration process. Go to dataportal.odpc.go.ke and click on the account link. Click register as a data handler. If first time, click on the first time registering. Fill in the pre-registration process details. Select the relevant category, whether public or private. If your data resides outside Kenya, select yes. Fill in the safeguards the entity uses to safeguard its data. Fill in the previous year turnover, then log in. Click on Click Here to Pay and select the payment mode convenient to you and submit. Then click on Click Here to Print to generate the invoice for presentation to the deposit receiving entity.
And with that, ladies and gentlemen, it is now launched, and with your permission, Your Excellency, would like to, in recognition of the registration, offer 4 certificates to those who've been compliant, and they are in certain categories. We have government agencies, and that is represented by NTSA. So if we can have the Director General kindly come. Then we also have not-for-profit organizations, Marketing Society of Kenya, MSK, Charles Kariuki, kindly come forward. Then large enterprises, we have Jamii Telecommunications Limited, Caroline Simba. And last but not least, small enterprises, we have TechPal Africa Solutions Limited, and we have Trevor Obonyo, who's going to be representing that. Ladies and gentlemen, we can give them a warm clap. They are now one step closer to being fully compliant with Data Protection Act right here. After that, Your Excellency, with your permission, we'd just like to take 3 photos, after which we'll present a gift to you, and we can then end this particular occasion. So, Thank you. Thank you. We can have the gift, please, that was to be presented to His Excellency. Kindly, let's have the gift come. The ODPC had requested to offer you this gift, just signifying the fact that this is the beginning of a journey that is definitely going to be successful. And as if you heard from His Excellency's speech, it is a journey that is now got full buy-in and support. Your Excellency, sir, just 3 photos. So if we can have, the CS is already here. Then we have PSD DG Nairobi. Kindly, if you can quickly come to the front. We have the DC and Deputy Commissioners to OD.